Welcome to the Peaceful Wellness Podcast with me, your host, Deb Phelps. If you are ready to unite with your true nature and find the calm you need to go through this journey called life, then walk a while with me as we learn to be resilient with mind, body, spirit modalities. I am a meditation teacher, mindfulness coach, sound healer, yoga specialist, and these and other modalities have helped me to truly find peaceful wellness within. So let's take a mindful approach together now. Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Peaceful Wellness Podcast. We've been exploring many facets of gratitude this month, and it's my pleasure to introduce a very special guest who brings a unique perspective to our discussion. She's a yoga teacher who serves the veteran community as well as civilians, focusing on bringing adaptable and accessible yoga so that her classes are welcome to all and so everyone can practice. And I certainly love that idea, all of it, because, my husband just retired from Wisconsin Army National Guard, and certainly I need the adaptable and accessible myself. So I relate to all of that. But welcome. It's so good to have you here today with me.
Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah. Well, let's tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and your journey into teaching yoga, specifically for veterans.
Yeah, so I've been practicing yoga for about 12 or 13 years. And it just completely changed my life. And I know that's a common story when you talk to yoga teachers. It changes their life. And, after a while, it just became apparent that I wanted to be able to share that with others, because I feel like it should be for everyone. Everyone should be able to experience the benefits that come with yoga. And so when I was doing my training, I was doing some research for another paper that I was writing, and I got exposed to a lot of military culture, military training, and then the veteran community. And I was talking to a friend about it, and her dad is a veteran himself, a Vietnam veteran, and he practiced yoga, and it made such a huge difference in his life. And we were talking, and she was talking about her dad, and I was thinking about the veterans that I have in my life, and we could see differences. And so I just automatically felt pulled to be in that community, to give back in that way. And once I started taking the Warriors at Ease training, it just really felt right. And at one point of the training, one of the trainers was like something along the lines of, who else if anyone in the world needs yoga, who else are veterans and the people in our military, they really deserve that. And so ever since then, I've just definitely been very active in this community. And the more I've learned, the more right it feels to be here.
Oh, that's fantastic. Actually, my husband was doing yoga this morning.
Yay.
So yes, and he meditates too. So I certainly know what it has done to help him as well too. He had 3 deployments in the past, so certainly how beneficial it is. And as you know, I took Warriors at I think I shared that with you.
You
Warriors at
led
Ease.
them to me.
And then I had taken the Veterans Yoga Project as well too. And so we have a lot in common in that way too. But how do you think that the practice of yoga intersects with this theme of this week? We're coming right now, Veterans Day coming up, reflections and memories, especially for veterans.
Yeah. So, without making a blanket statement for all veterans, we do know things with moral injury and PTS, post-traumatic stress. We know those things can really be activated by things like memories and things like reflections. And so when they experience these memories, sometimes they can be painful and they can cause mental, physical, and emotional distress. And so when we have the yoga practice, we can practice really observing and feeling those memories and those reflections, and it's coming from a place of observation, the seat of the observer. We learn to practice that in yoga and mindfulness. And so we can look at these memories, these reflections, and begin to not fuse ourselves with them, not let them define who we are. And on the other side of the coin, some veterans disassociate from them. And there's a quote that says, "What we resist persists." And so as true as that is, we can learn to sit with these feelings and these memories and work through them in a safe environment so that we're not dissociating, so that we're not fusing with them, and we can almost objectify these memories that we have, see them objectively, and not tie our worth or who we are or our entire experience with these memories.
Right. So yoga does serve then as a therapeutic avenue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in so many ways too. So, you have the physical practice, which is huge, and what brings a lot of people to yoga to begin with. They'll come in for back pain, and then they begin to experience all the other benefits, such as mindfulness and emotional well-being. And so you have the physical practice of yoga to help. And then you also have, the breath work, which really helps us to activate our parasympathetic nervous system, which is that rest and digest, the opposite of fight or flight. And so by moving with the breath, it's kind of like a moving meditation. And so while we're moving, we're helping our bodies, we're interacting with our breath, we're helping our nervous system. And those two things really marry together beautifully when we're practicing. And then we can also learn to kind of observe what's going on inside. Most of us are on phones, emails, work, we're constantly distracting ourselves. And so when we do something like yoga, we're setting aside time to be with ourselves. And you can have beginners and they're like, I didn't even realize I was feeling this way, or I didn't realize I had pain in this part of my body, because we're stuffing so much down. We're distracting ourselves from so much. So when we come to practice, we can realize everything that's going on. And then from there, we can choose to kind of engage in a safe way to help ourselves.
Great.
Yeah.
Do you have any memorable experiences where yoga had a significant impact on a veteran's life at all?
Absolutely. There was two recently. The first one was a veteran I was working with. He came to me because he was having a lot of back problems, and he wanted to go on a road trip to see his family and to travel. And when he was driving, that's when his pain would really flare. And so we worked together and kind of worked with what we knew was going on from his doctors, and got him to a place in just 4 weeks that he could make the drive, and he was able to go visit his family, which is huge. Especially if you're feeling isolated and are far away from your people, to be able to not be able to see them physically can be really hard. And then to be able to do that is fantastic. And then another one I had was a female veteran who came to a class, and she expressed to me that she yawned, and she had never been able to, since her service, get to a place where she could relax to the point of yawning. Um, and so to be able to finally relax was really, really changing, really life changing for her. Because when we don't relax, that wears on us in so many ways. And so she had experienced military sexual trauma, and so her body was always in fight or flight. And so to be able to help her to get to a point and learn a practice to where she could yawn, relax, maybe get some sleep, it changes everything.
What kind of practices did you do with her specifically?
We did some sensory scanning, and then grounding through the body and a body scan. Just learning to scan through the body from the head to the toe, learning to bring your awareness into your physical body with the goal of relaxing it. Muscle by muscle, just completely helped her relax. And so what we see in studies is when our nervous system is relaxed, our physical body is relaxed. And if our physical body is relaxed, our nervous system is relaxed. So they marry together just like that. And so focusing on the physical body first really helped her get to a place where she was able to relax on the inside and the outside.
So was that more of a mindful body scan
It
or
was, yeah. It
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 was?
was it was. We kept it simple. She was very clear that she didn't want anything too intricate. So we kept it simple. We started with each of the toes, and we moved up through the legs, and really just touching on the bodies in general, just bringing your attention to that place and seeing if you could soften just a little bit. Not having that pressure to be like being able to snap into relaxation. That's not always easy. So just taking it one muscle at a time was really helpful for her.
Oh, that's wonderful that you were able
Yes.
to. I take it you worked one-on-one
Yes.
in this
Yes,
case.
we did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yes.
great. That's great.
Yeah.
Now, are you near a base that you're working at, or like are you working with a VA center near you, or?
I am hoping to work with our VA centers. They are having different kind of employment through a third party, and they're having very specific schedules. So that is on my 2024 to-do list, and I'm hoping to get into some of our local VA centers around here, some outside of the hospitals, which is where a lot of our veterans, where I'm located at, tend to frequent. They have free breakfast every week, and the camaraderie there, the community there is really tight. So next year in 2024, I'm hoping to be able to host classes in our VA centers.
Oh, that's great. I know a few years back here in Madison that I don't know if this was VA wide
Mm-hmm.
or if it was just more localized or if different centers are doing this. They were opening up more to mindfulness.
Mm-hmm.
I had a person in one of my meditation group. It was like a book group, meditation group, and he was talking about how they were incorporating more and more mindfulness into how they work with the veterans as well
Yeah.
too. So yeah, I just thought that was so interesting. It was like a few years. That was before COVID.
Uh-huh.
That he was telling me about that, and I thought that was just so wonderful, bringing in these practices. Of course, the yoga practices as well too.
Uh-huh.
What are some challenges that veterans face when they first try out yoga, and how can they overcome them as well too?
Right. So I hear a lot of the same things with my veterans, and one of the most common ones is it's religious. And if they are of a particular faith or are not religious, that in general, no matter what side of the coin you fall on, that can push people away. So I tell people It's not. It doesn't have to be religious unless you want to tie your own spirituality into it. Um, Especially with what I teach it, there's no religious aspect. And I try to encourage, there's a lot of assumptions, right? There's a lot of assumptions with yoga and mindfulness and meditation. And it's religious, or it's for girls, or it's just stretching. And so I try to have people open their minds and realize it's a lot more than that. And so my encouragement to them is to find a military specific class or a veteran specific class. You're going to be working with a teacher who is educated and trained to work with the military and veteran community. You're going to be practicing with people who are of similar background as you. And so that's where I first encourage them to go. Find your veteran community, find a military community, something that lines up with where you're at in life, and it could very well change your mind.
And you certainly teach an online class.
Yes, 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 I
Tell
do.
us more about your online class for vets that you do.
Well, I have one on Thursdays with you, and I teach several classes through Sophia Health every week. Those are usually about 20-minute classes. That way we can make sure that it fits into everybody's schedule. And then I also work a lot of one-on-ones with veterans. Those are always free of charge. All my veterans classes are always free. They'll never cost anything. And in the private classes, we look at what your goals are. We kind of talk a bit about your background and where you want to go, and any specifics you might have. And we find a time that works for you and me, and we meet up every week and we practice. So you have community options, and then you also have private options. So if you want to practice alone, if you're looking for buddies, there's an option out there for you to have. And I like to do it online because if you can't leave your house, if you don't have time, if you have a job, if you have kids, I have kids, I get it. It's always there for you. And so we make it work together.
Oh, that's terrific to bring it. Well, that's what the pandemic taught us, right? That
Yes.
we could do all of this online
Yeah.
as well. And, that's just so wonderful that you're working and you do this free of charge too, as well. And
Yes.
we'll make sure we have all your social media links attached here to the episode as well too. So if people want to get in touch with you.
Absolutely.
What are some advice that you might have for veterans that want to start yoga, but they're kind of hesitant, they're kind of skeptical about it? You talked a little bit about that, but
yeah, we'll expand.
Anything else additionally there?
So I would start with maybe a why. Do you want to be stronger? Do you want to feel more flexible or work on your mobility? Do you want to feel more calm, more at ease? And depending on your initial why, that could change as you practice, but based on your initial why, I would look into what kind of class you might want. So if you wanted to find a way to relax or unwind or help something like post-traumatic stress, I would look at a restorative yoga practice. You hold poses for a long amount of time with props, and you rest. It's a rest period, and you're supported by these props, and that allows your nervous system to really begin to unwind. It allows your body to get into a restful state. And so that's one avenue you could take. You could do body scans, which are always really popular. That will help you relax as well. And if you're wanting to work on flexibility or mobility, I would suggest a yin yoga class. Again, you work with props there, but it really kind of gets into those deep connective tissues in your muscles. And then there's also, if you want to build strength, yoga can do that for you too. So you can do like a vinyasa or sun salutation or a flow. And there's chair yoga, yoga at the wall. There's so many ways to be able to practice yoga in a way that fits you best. You just have to kind of know where to look, and kind of start with what you want, and then go from there. And that's why I love the yoga practice, because it can be so adaptable and accessible, with some small changes. I would say half my students, we do chair yoga. And that's, you just got to grab a chair or a seat or something sturdy. And you can still build the strength, still build the flexibility, all the things that you would get in a regular yoga class, just with some support. So no matter where you're at in your journey and where you want to go, there is an avenue to get there.
That is so true. Even I think it was when I took the accessible yoga training, even the fact of visualizing the pose,
Yes.
that's even another way. Like if you can't, or, like me, I have fibromyalgia. So sometimes,
Mhm.
most of mine is on chair these days.
Yeah.
But even if you visualize, whatever it was, lifting a leg or stretching or what have you, it actually has the same benefit
It
that
does.
they have
Yeah.
found, even with the power of visualization. I know that sounds probably strange to some people, but it works. It really
Yeah.
does work.
Yeah. You got to just practice it. I tell when every time I teach a class, especially with a group, I always lead with, I am your guide. But I'm holding this space for you. If I do something that you don't like, please feel free to do something else. You can lay there the whole time, do this in your head. You can just lay there, do nothing. You can just breathe. Ultimately, as a yoga teacher, I am a safe space holder for you. And I want you to come to my class and get what you needed out of it. And that is my biggest goal, no matter who I'm teaching, is please come to my class, and I hope to be able to help you get what you need from that. And people take me up on it a lot. They'll lay there, they'll sleep, they'll nap. Sometimes they'll cry, and it's okay. It's acceptable. It's welcomed. The your yoga class, that time is for you. That space is for you. It's not about the teacher. It's not about the other students. This is about your time. And so I hope that people can remember that if they practice with me or anyone else, that to use that time for themselves.
Oh, that is so true. I'm glad you brought that point up, because that's an important piece, is knowing that this is my space. This is, what I need to do for me, and however that may unfold. Sometimes I know when I teach different, because I also teach sound baths and meditations,
Mhm.
and as you know, yoga nidra and that too. Sometimes people fall asleep, and then all I say, they say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I fell asleep." It's like, no, you needed that sleep. You are
Yes.
not offending me. It just makes me feel like I did my job if everybody's snoring in the room.
I always say the same thing. Same here. They always apologize. They're like, "How long was I out?" But it's so interesting too, because they all kind of wake up towards the end. They just naturally come to, um,
Mhm. Mhm.
and they're always like, "Whoa, I did not mean to fall asleep." I'm like, "Hey, that means you were relaxed, and that is, all I could ask out of you, out of
Right.
this class, out of this experience, is that you left it feeling relaxed, if anything."
Yeah, that's great. Well, how can the general public better support our veterans in their healing journey, whether it's through yoga or other means?
Yeah, so I would say the first thing is to have empathy. Have empathy for your veterans as well as just other people. Don't assume you know what they might have experienced or what they're going through. One person's experience may be completely different than somebody else's, and you don't know how that affects them or doesn't affect them. I think it's easy to have assumptions about these things, especially with veterans. And I would just encourage people to just have empathy for them and listen, and if you can, be a safe space for them.
Yeah.
Let them talk it out. Obviously, you can always volunteer your time or money to a lot of great causes out there who want to help our veterans. And I work with a few of them myself. And you can also share any kind of resources you come across on social media. Just hit the share button, because some of them may not know that these resources are out there for them. And it can just take scrolling past your post, seeing it, and be like, oh, I can definitely look into that, because a lot of these things are spread by word of mouth. So it's really important to just share.
That's true. And do you have any resources that you wanted to share with us
Oh,
right now?
yes, absolutely, I do. So I work closely with a few organizations. The first one is Veteran Help Point. Michelle Lang operates it, and she's a fantastic human. And she works really hard. She's a military spouse. And what her mission is to do is to basically talk with you and help you find local resources or online resources for you to get you some help with anything you might need. She likes to say that her slogan is, "We do the recon, so you don't have to," and so she can be a first stepping point for you to help you get connected to these things that might help you. And another one that I have been working with is Vets for Success. They are 100% volunteer based. And they really rely on donations and volunteers. And what they do is they help veterans and their families as they need it. So somebody could come up to them today, right now, and they will start helping you find those resources within the hour. They really they focus a lot on homelessness and transitioning veteran families as well as their children from homelessness. We close to the start of school year, we all had they had Amazon lists for families who were transitioning out of homelessness. They had their kids lists and things on Amazon, things that they might need. They focus on getting you connected with warm meals, a place to sleep, things for your kids, really any kind of need that a veteran might have and need help with, even like gas money to get to a job interview. They're there to be able to help you with these things. And they're fantastic people. And I know with the holidays coming up, they will need help with Thanksgiving meals and probably some Christmas lists for kids. So they are an amazing place to go for if you want to volunteer or if you're a veteran who needs some help. And then also Warriors at Ease and Veterans Yoga Project. I'm always suggesting them. Fantastic people. They have online yoga classes, in-person yoga classes, training for yoga teachers and meditation teachers. Their goal is to really bring yoga and meditation and mindfulness to the veteran community. And Veterans Yoga Project also works with first responders. And so if you wanted to do an online option, they are a great resource. And then also you have your local VA, your local veterans hospitals. And then you have mine, Yoga for Warriors. I'm always here to do classes with you, veteran spouses, veteran caretakers, military members as well. So you can always find me as well.
Wow, you just have a wealth of resources to share, not only outside but also from within yourself, and the good work that you do. And it's so much a pleasure to have you here today to share all of that with the
I'm
listeners
honored.
today.
I'm
So
honored.
thanks for being with me. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I'm just honored and to have this talk with you and this space with you and help to spread awareness and resources for our veterans out there who might need them.
It's so wonderful. And Kaitlin teaches on Thursdays online for Peaceful Wellness Studio as well. And we'll make sure you have all this information, all the resources and everything in the page for this podcast episode. So So thanks again for joining with me, Kaitlin. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much, Deb.
Thank you for joining with me today. For my weekly classes, meditation and modalities on-demand library, self-study courses, and private sessions, visit my website at peacefulwellness.org.